Okay, so this is part 5 of my tour of my Hex Flower Cookbook, which is available on drive-through, pay what you want. So I'm just working through this a couple of pages at a time, kind of explaining these hex flowers because I get a lot of questions about them, and I thought maybe if I did this guide, it might. First of all, I wrote the guide, but it can be a little bit hard to get your head into it sometimes. So I thought if I just talk my way through it, it might help people out. So I already covered quite a lot of parts of hex flowers in parts 1 to 4. So obviously, if you haven't seen those, feel free to skip back. And if you already listened to parts 1 to 4, 1 through 4, I apologize if you've heard this 3 times already. It was 4 times, gosh. Anyway, okay, so I've already talked about class 1, hex flowers, which I was calling the infinite game. Well, this is class 2, and as I say, these classes are just made up by me. They're not real classes. They just help me sort of break this document up into different things. So the second class I'm calling Hex Flower, where the aim is to have a terminal event. It's basically a mini game. So the 2 examples I'm going to show you for this was a volcano tracker, volcano eruption tracker, and a take the town temperature Hex Flower game engine. So here they are. So the idea here, example, you're on that volcanic island. You've got to rescue um, the mad scientist before the volcano blows up. So the idea is that you've got this hex flower which mainly keeps you down here, but eventually, by sheer probability, you're going to hit the eruption, and that's when the volcano blows up and the game is over. So that would be a terminal event. There's no need for the hex flower now; it's done its job. But this is one of the first hex flowers I did, so it's a little unpolished. I'm not ashamed of it, but it's not so. And I was experimenting here with edge rules. So that's saying shakes tend to go off this way and appear here. Ash flow takes you up here, so it's a bit. Still working it out. Anyway, I'm not just So here you got mainly kind of you know um, nondescript things where atmosphere rumbles and it's still, it's eerily calm, that sort of thing. And then over here you're getting quakes, tremors, and here you're getting fog and mudslides and plumes, and then eventually you get the big payoff. Another one I did like this was it's about imagining players staying in a town and eventually outstaying their welcome. Um, Now I would probably do this differently now. I would probably use something called, well, I'll cover that later, but I'm using one hex flower here, which again, generally they're okay. Here's one of the lobes I'm talking about, which is talking about sort of priest, taxman, and things about sort of faith mainly, and then you got sort of the mayor, the police, and the judge, the legal side. And eventually, if you end up going this way, the judge has the judiciary is investigating you, then they take some action, and then it's pitchforks, you're thrown out, or you've annoyed the local bishop, the clergy are now livid, and then you get chucked out. But again, this will take several days to work its way out. And that's one thing I haven't really touched on is how often you test on a hex file. Well, you could do it every day, or you could do it, once a week, depending on what's going on. And obviously, if the NPCs leave town this stage, no problem. So those are what I call well, I don't really call, I'm classifying them in this document as uh, terminal events, class 2 minigame. And this is a valid point. This is another secondary concept is if you've got a terminal event that must happen to end the game, like a volcano, just by sheer chance, it might take 20 turns to get up here. It normally doesn't, but it can rarely happen. So I'd recommend if you're running a terminal event to not have a never-ending story. Have a final day where the volcano goes off no matter what. So if for some reason after 15 days it hasn't blown, well, it's going. Otherwise, I think it could be dissatisfactory. I've run this through a simulation, and sometimes, most of the time, it's not that long, but sometimes it can be 20 or 30 turns. Rarely like one. But you don't want to be there.